Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you for such an auspicious welcome. As always, welcome to the Voice Over Today audio podcast. I'm your host, D. Foster 3. We have an eye on the culture. And today, as always, we're going to be discussing relevant issues, trending topics, and we do our own thorough investigation, and we have our own thoughts about what we will say. You know the spiel at the beginning. I want you to like, share, subscribe, follow to the channel, and make sure you follow us on our social media pages. Wake Up Global Networks on Facebook. Wake Up Global Networks on Facebook. WGN INC on X. And Wake Up Global Media on Instagram. Have you seen the Voice Over There podcast upload every Friday at 5 o'clock? Or you can catch it on the replay. What's going on, replay crew? Yes, we bring you relevant information if you love being educated, inspired, but most importantly, bringing out the facts, raw, straight, no chaser, uncut, unbiased, telling it like it is, but leaving you to formulate your own opinion. And then, of course, every Sunday morning, have you followed and shared in our The Voice of Hope connection, where we give you an inspirational word every Sunday morning to help take you through a tumultuous week. I want to say thank you. I'm CEO and President of Wake Up Global Networks International, and I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Today, I want to talk about the bigger picture, because everybody, we're trained to look at everything on a surface level. We're trained to look at the facts that are presented to us. And one of the things that I've tried to do on all of my podcasts is help take you behind the facts, to hear what's not being said, to see what's not seen, and to reveal what has not been revealed. And today's podcast is no different. Now, first of all, let me say this. I want to put out my disclaimers. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, till they have their day in court. And number two, I would not wish prison on my worst enemy. Okay? Prison, holding cell, whatever. No, we don't wish that. But there are consequences that lead to that. Now, what am I talking about? Don't miss the big picture. Did you like? Did you share? Did you subscribe? Did you follow? Everybody is talking about the imminent and yet current arrest on this past Monday of Sean Diddy Combs. And I mean, if you've been following, I don't think it was surprising to anybody that he was arrested. As a matter of fact, his attorneys are saying that the reason he was in Manhattan was to turn himself in on Tuesday morning. But because I think he was, to them, and is a big flight risk. I mean, when you're a multi-millionaire and you have powerful connections, I mean, you look at Russell Simmons. He's in Dubai. He never has to come back, and we don't have an extradition plan with them. So who's saying he couldn't do the same? But anyway, this is not the point. I don't want to talk about the Sean Puffy Combs arrest and or indictment, because I don't want you, nor neither do I want to miss the bigger picture. Now, of course, we know that on Monday, Combs was indicted on it was an unsealing of indictment on 3 charges, sex trafficking being one, which is very, very seriously. And when you go through the indictment, very dark, very grim, and if found guilty on those, will spend a lot of time in prison. As a matter of fact, I have, based on the how can I say this? Based on the current indictment that I read on Combs and what's going on in the Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug case, I have more confidence that Young Thug will be released than I do that Combs will at this point. But we'll see. But everybody's innocent till proven guilty. Everybody deserves their day in court. But I don't want to talk about that. We know that he faces over, if indicted, if found guilty, over 20 years behind bars, probably minimum. He's being held without bond. I'm sure that's torture when you've been rich, powerful, could move anywhere in the world, whenever, however you wanted to. I'm sure that is punishment in and of itself. But this indictment goes back. Now, I want to get to the point to 2000, at least till 2008. And we were hearing other things about Combs allegedly even before then. And, you know, and there are times, if you don't know what I'm about to discuss in a few minutes, you can think and be deceived, and all of us can be found guilty of this, that because of my money, because of my power, because of my fame, I am an untouchable. You remember the story of Al Capone, the Untouchables? Al Capone thought he would never be indicted, arrested. And the interesting thing is, here's the interesting thing, and this segues into my topic, don't miss the bigger picture. Out of all the bootlegging and all the murders that Al Capone, according to history, orchestrated, he was not arrested for any of that. He was arrested and indicted on tax evasion. Now, who would have thought a alleged historian says murdered, ordered murders, bootlegged, bribed, corrupted, had judges and police on his payroll, that he would be arrested for tax evasion? You know what this tells me? And this is the bigger picture in this issue with Sean Diddy Combs. Everybody's doing a podcast. Everybody's talking about it. I don't need to talk about the grim details, but I want to go and take us behind the story so that we don't miss the big picture of what we ought to get out of this. Not necessarily the gory details of the freak-offs and the drugs and the ecstasy. No. But there's a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, now I'm going to sound like who I am now. I'm going to sound a little preachy, but pardon me. I give the word. That's part of who I am. And I bring these on my shows because it's about entertainment, but it's about learning and growing. This is a message that we may get by in life, but the divine law of karma says no one gets away. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how powerful they are. I don't care how vicious they may seem. At some point, there is a higher divine law called karma, or sowing and reaping. What is that? To break it down. Did you like? Did you share? Did you subscribe? Oh, don't turn me off because you think I'm preaching. I'm not preaching. I'm giving you practical insight for life, because there are a lot of people who live in their life very callously and casualty and mistreating and recklessly and feeling like they are above the law and feeling like they are untouchable. And guess what? That there is an unaware at the same time that there is a divine law. There is a higher law. It's so wide, nobody can get around it. It's so high, nobody can go over it. It's so low, nobody can go under. And it's called, we all reap what we sow eventually. Now, this indictment goes back to 2008, but we've been hearing about the horror stories from Combs allegedly since the 90s, since the Biggie days, since the Tupac days. And see, here's the deception part. Like, share, subscribe, follow, especially the people who are doing you wrong and thinking that they're going to live happily ever after. Yeah, because, people, especially when they get away with it, they feel like they're invincible. They feel like they're untouchable. They got their crew. They got their money. But there is a principle that cannot be brought, that cannot be bribed, that cannot be threatened. And it's called whatsoever we sow. Now, my grandmother used to say the old way, what goes around comes around. And see, that's all that happens. So when I listen to people say, and it happens to all of us. And it happens to all of us. Nobody is exempt, but it happens in my life. It happened in my life. It happens in our life. But the wise man or the wise woman understanding that this is the way that the world operates and nobody can stop it, nobody can bribe it, nobody can threaten it, says, wait a minute, before I do that, before I wreck their life, before I try to needlessly destroy them, before I perpetrate, before I abuse them, do I want the bigger picture to appear? And that is, whatever I'm giving out, it is definitely going to come back. Now, don't give me this stuff about God forgives, because every time I talk about this, all of the guilty party says, but you know, God is a God of a second chance. Yes, I'm a witness. I got the 30,000 second chance, but karma has nothing to do with God's forgiveness. God forgives, right? I told you I may sound a little preachy on this, but that's okay. That's what I do. And his grace may soften the blow, but the blow, as it may, must come. Here it is. What's done in the dark will come to light. What's done in secret will be shouted from the housetop. All of that talks about karma. So the bigger picture is, instead of getting into the gory details of how Sean Diddy Combs lived his life and preyed on victims, unfortunately, and abused and threatened and allegedly ordered deaths, and all of that is atrocious. How about D. Foster 3 focusing on the big picture of his life? How about you, the listener, focusing on the big picture in your life? And that is, whatever we put out there, whatever, good or bad, whatever. You ever seen a person that they always blessed, they always seem like they're on top, they always seem like they got money, they always seem like they're happy? Maybe it's because they're living by the bigger picture. They put that out there. They don't put no hate out there. They don't put no jealousy out there. They don't put no rumors out there. They don't put no scandals out there. See, whatever. The bigger picture is whatever. Yeah, I got your man. Yeah, I got your woman. I've heard people brag on that. Whatever you sow. So don't be surprised when somebody has yours, right? I'm just giving you, just breaking it down. It's not Sunday morning. I mean, I know it's Wednesday, but you know, how about a little midweek inspiration? Like, share, subscribe, follow. So I look at this thing with P. Diddy Combs. I look at this with Trayon White, etc. I look at it with D. Foster 3. That ain't no boogeyman after me. It's the bigger picture coming back to give me what I put out. So therefore, as a wise man, I try to always be mindful and ask myself the question before I put it out. Am I able to live up to the bigger picture of getting it back? Because you just don't get it back on the measure that you put it out. That's a whole nother podcast. It comes back double. If I put out blessing, it comes back double. But if I put out toxicity, it comes back double. So let me encourage you before I go. I know this is a different kind of podcast, but I just felt to talk about the bigger picture. For those of you who think people have done you wrong, they've done you dirty, they betrayed you, they've messed over your life and they've moved on. They've not moved on. They may have moved on from you, but they have not moved on from the consequences of what they did to you. So now you're out of the picture. Your hands are clean, but that's all right. They're not living happily ever after. I don't care what they put on Facebook. I don't care what kind of pictures they put on Instagram. I don't care what kind of pictures they put on Twitter or X. There's a bigger picture. You can't do wrong. Diddy, Trayon, D. Foster 3, put your name in there. And expect to move on and live happily ever after. It just don't work that way, y'all. Because there is a bigger picture that I'm going to see it again experienced in my life. And it ain't got nothing to do with God's forgiveness. That's on a separate page. I want to hear from you. thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com, thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com. Check us out again every Sunday, 7 a.m. for the Voice of Hope Connection, the Voice of Hope Connection. And then on Friday, the Voice Over Now podcast. I want to say thank you for like, share, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to April J, CEO and president of WPB Media. Make sure you support this channel, support this platform, which is giving space to positive voices and messages. Until the next podcast, this is D. Foster 3 reminding you, you have a voice. Stay connected to it and keep your eye on the big picture.